It is too dangerous. You must not go alone.
Hey, I'm your childage.
Hello and good evening. Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 3, Episode 17, Sins of the Father is over. And it has been since 1990. But here in 2026 on Live Long and Podcast, we're just getting started. Whether you're joining us live on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook, or catching the audio version wherever you get your audio podcasts, our mission to rewatch every episode of TNG continues. One Klingon ritual, one High Council conspiracy, and one very uncomfortable family reunion at a time. And now here's the guy who challenged the High Council, but only after a strong cup of Ractugino. I'm your host, Dave Mader, and happy Martin Luther King Day to all those who celebrate. And we're going to break this one down with tonight's panel here on Mondays. Mondays. He's tracking every political maneuver in the Klingon High Council, from Kurn's secret identity to Duras's power plays. If there's a crack in the facade of Klingon honor, he's already mapping the fallout. It's Adam Woodward.
Hey, Dave. Hey, Heather. Good to see you guys.
Hello. We're here on Mondays.
We were already here Mondays. This is just a new topic.
New topic, new news. But you'll be happier with this one, I think.
Yes.
Yes. Well, welcome. Of course, with us once again, she's locked onto the emotional core of the episode. Worf's struggle between duty and family, Kurn's pride, and the heartbreak of choosing dishonor to preserve the Empire. Stylish, sharp, and turned into the heart of the story. It's Heather Narduzzi.
Hello. I love this episode. I'm super glad to be here on Monday and getting into this with y'all. And we would like to say hi to Sam. Sam says, do you guys bring honor? You better believe it, Sam.
But you must bring the honor in the Canadian spelling, Sam, with a U in there.
That's correct.
How it goes. But welcome to the panel and to all those watching us live here on the stream. As mentioned, we're talking Sins of the Father, the 65th episode overall of Star Trek The Next Generation that aired on March 19th, 1990, just a day after my 7th birthday, with a story by Drew Dayan, but the teleplay by Ronald D. Moore and W. Reed Moran, and directed by Les Landau. And this one has a Klingon exchange officer, Commander Kurn, arriving on board the Enterprise, who reveals himself to be Worf's brother. That brings this devastating news that the Klingon High Council has accused their father of treason. Worf has to go to Kronos, challenge the ruling, uncover the conspiracy that threatens the stability of the Klingon Empire. And we get, Tony Todd as the
great Tony Todd.
The great Tony Todd, you know.
How long has this bird been dead? It appears to have been lying in the sun for quite some time.
Great Tony Todd. In one of his first, I think, 4 appearances, he'll play Kurn. It was not enough, quite frankly. Loved this character. Great chemistry with Michael Dorn and the rest of the crew, for that matter, because he gets to interact with all of them for the first couple minutes of the episode before the story changes to this Worf-centric story, which for the first part, you feel like this is a Riker episode where Riker's like, oh boy, here comes the new first officer. I got to teach him about not being a Klingon ship or something. And then, Riker kind of gets back seated pretty quickly here, and Picard has to go and be the Chadich. He's got to mess it up in the streets of the Klingon First City. He's got to uncover the conspiracy, and we also get to meet Duras in this episode as well, who he only gets 2 appearances, including this, but his legacy, and his the impact that the character makes over many seasons of not just Next Generation, but also Deep Space Nine as well. Yes,
and Sam says in the comments, this episode sets up a lot for the whole franchise, and especially season 4 and Deep Space Nine.
Yes, well, and also we'll get a 2-parter in a couple seasons. Redemption, right, where Worf is fighting the Civil War along with Kurn. We get Gowron in the mix in a couple seasons, so always a lot of fun.
Don't forget Kim Peck.
Kim Peck. Yeah, Kim Peck is
Kim Peck.
Who plays Kim Peck? I've never really.
I'll find out for you, Dave.
Yeah, find out, because he's really fun in this episode. He's a little bit in that future episode where Picard has to be the arbiter of succession, and all that will come up later. But he's a really interesting choice, I think, for the story of he's the leader of the Klingon Empire, not like the strongest, grandest, most boastful Klingon warrior. He's more like this sad old fat politician who's really he's very cynical, but maybe at one time had more honor.
Surely he did. If you look at his ceremonial robes, he's got crests and pins and buttons and everything, and surely those are all trophies from battle or insignia, rank.
Well, maybe not so much.
Surely he was a great warrior one day, but getting body shamed by Celeste and doing political moves is what he's up to these days.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not really the strongest Klingon who gets to be the leader of the Empire. They are like a feudal society that has noble houses, and there's a lot of hereditary power and power, structure there, right? Like Worf comes from one of those privileged noble houses that gets discommendation by the end of this episode. But the Duras family is so powerful that the scandal of them being involved in this treachery with the Romulans 20 years earlier would bring civil war, which is exactly what it will do later on, when there's the Duras versus Gowron camp in the Klingon Civil War that does come. So,
okay, Dave, his name is Charles Cooper. You might remember him from Star Trek IV, The Final Frontier, where he played Cord.
Oh, Star Trek V, yeah.
5, pardon me, yeah, 5.
He's Cord, yeah. And I guess Cord was in 1988, right? Or I guess The Final Frontier, rather.
89, yeah, 89, yeah.
89. So this is only a year later that he's coming. They're bringing him back for this other Klingon character.
I mean, he was born in 1926, so he had some miles on him then.
So he'd be 100 years old this year. I'm guessing he's no longer with us.
Yeah, he's no longer with us. Died in 2013.
2013. Well, R.I.P. But his performance is really interesting. The whole thing is written so well, I find. It's a really fun episode because you don't know where it's going. And this Klingon guy shows up, and then it turns into the story more about Worf, which we got a little bit in some prior episodes to this, like Worf having been orphaned as a child and him being raised by Starfleet officers, but that he had no other family and that there was nothing left from the Empire. I think this was really interesting, that the way they do this, and they obviously keep running with it. I think the episode must have been popular even at the time. I know, Heather, you said you loved the episode. Is there anything you would like to add to that in terms of what speaks to you in it, why you enjoy it?
Well, we do get, it's not my favorite thing about the episode, but very, very notable. We get the iconic line from Picard when it's said to him, "Oh, Starfleet officers don't fight," and he says, "You may test that assumption at your convenience."
Yes, that's his version of
loves, and everybody knows it's the diplomat's way of saying "fuck around and find out."
Right. Well, that's the human version of this.
I am a Klingon. If you doubt it, a demonstration can be arranged.
Yes, love that. That's the human to Klingon translation.
That's the translation right there. Yeah. He's like, you could test that assertion at your leisure.
And I love the introduction of Kurn. Tony Todd plays it so well, and I love the dinner scene where he eats a rose You know, which I actually only noticed for the first time on Rewatch yesterday, because why would he know what alien plants are good to eat? We eat a bunch of plants. Why wouldn't a rose be good? They all taste bland to him anyway. I just think it's a fun scene, and the dead replicated bird, and all of the interplay between him and Worf, and all the ceremonial Klingon garb and all of those things. I'm just into it. I love Klingon stuff.
Yeah, me too. Adam, anything you want to add in terms of your just affection for the episode? I know you're a fan, but
I'm a fan, but I went in this looking at it really critically because I knew you guys were going to talk about how great it was. But and it is really great because I mean we've got here EJR87R. He said it. It sets up the future. Sam said it as well. You guys have also mentioned it. It really does. It's a pivotal episode, but in my opinion, it should have been 2 because there was just so much in this episode that was just glossed over.
It feels a little rushed, once we actually get to Kronos.
And I think that there's a bit of a realization from everybody because this is the real first time that we've seen the Klingon political structure and how corrupt it is. And I'm not really clear on how this one omission that, the House of Moog goes into, could have plunged them into civil war over this. Like it
mean the House of Duras?
Duras, but if it had come out that they were the ones who were responsible for the massacre, it seemed surprising to me. But we didn't know enough. It didn't talk about yesterday's Enterprise at all, and the Kittimer massacre. I'd like to know more.
Well, I guess like they could have been, because the whole section of the episode at the end where Picard is challenging Kim Peck and he's like, this could unravel the entire alliance with the Federation, and Picard says the alliance isn't built on lies, Kim Peck. We're not, I'm not going to mess around with this. We're not going to cover it up. But he's also not going to expose them. He's like, keep your secrets if you must, and all that. But I think you're right that like, even the 20-year history of like how that alliance was formed, and Kim Peck would have been central to that theoretically. It seems like he's been in power for a while.
Well, he was there. I mean, he was at least there in the aftermath.
Right, like he's a contemporary of that time.
It just looking back, and I've seen this episode so many times now, as probably you guys have too. But I just would have wished there was more to it. Now that's also now with the benefit of the redemption and Sons of Moog. All that like later on stuff that we saw in later episodes, and Deep Space Nine, which they re-brought this back again. Like I just wish there was more. That's all.
Yeah, I get it. And you remember, it's like it's the 90s. They don't know yet. It's it's episodic TV. They don't want to make it too serialized. They don't want storylines from other episodes carrying too much at this point, unless it's a 2-parter, which they haven't even done a 2-parter yet. Like Best of Both Worlds will be the first 2-parter Next Gen will do.
It was just such a strong episode that's missing stuff. It's just missing parts of the story. That's all.
Yeah, for sure. You're right there, Heather.
Yes, I'm just experiencing some technical difficulties here. Carry on. I'll be right back.
Okay. The one thing for me that I would have liked is the Great Hall that all that dialogue happens, and I feel like that could have been bigger and grander. And
yes.
Anyway, I might have to mute you, Heather. You're moving your mic around a lot. So
sorry.
Okay. All right. I'll mute you until you flag me when you're ready. Okay. Anything else before we kind of jump into this?
No, I think that Tony Todd was the right choice for this. Let's jump in because I've got comments on the way too. The things. Like I'm finding Riker very annoying in this season. Like, and every episode I find something I don't like about him. So we can start.
All right. Oh, she's back. Okay. Riker's a little annoying in this episode.
What's the problem with Riker?
I'll tell you. Let's go. Let's remind ourselves where this episode starts. Here with the Enterprise meeting up with the Klingon bird of prey. That we got this exchange officer coming over, of course, that we Kurn.
and Riker being featured here because he had that previous episode in season 2 where he had been the Klingon, he had been exchange officer for the Klingon ship, so his experience will be useful. He's already warned the crew to prepare for unusual orders and the Klingon sort of expectations here. As Kurn specifically requested the Enterprise, we're also told, and as soon as he gets to the Enterprise, he is down to business. He doesn't want to see his quarters. He doesn't want a fluffy bed. He wants to go to his station. Very Klingon of him. So they're going.
And they must have put him on a platform shoes because he's already a tall man. And he's towering
he's
over Riker.
Well, he has to feel bigger, I guess, than Riker, who's also tall, right? So coming along here, but So Kurn a little curt with Riker, a little bit more respectful with Picard because he is adhering to him as a superior officer, and this relegates Riker to like second officer, I guess, for now. So while he's here, although the assignment won't last too long. So they're moving along here. Some eyes, some glances between Riker and Kurn as we're heading up here, and Riker's worried he's gonna mess with my crew. I got them like a fine.
Okay, so here's my biggest problem with Riker. Riker shouldn't even be here. They should send him on to Risa or somewhere. Just go away for this assignment.
Right. But it's almost like he's watching the Klingon. I remember this is still early. Like the Klingons are still kind of the bad guys, right? Like the Next Generation or the original series movies are going. And in those movies, the Klingons are still being portrayed as villains. Undiscovered Country is the next year after this, which will kind of talk about the whole Klingon Federation.
They can't be trusted.
Can't be trusted. Don't trust them. That's Kirk's words, not ours. So
I know.
Yeah. Anyway,
I can never forgive them for the death of my son.
Can never forgive them for the death of his son. Of course, David. I can't forgive the death of a David either. Of course, Kurn makes his address to the bridge. Says, I am now your first officer. I will be instituting strict Federation and Starfleet protocols, which I have studied extensively. So you better get on this. At your leisure, Captain. Picard's like, oh, yeah, go for it. You're doing great, Kurn.
I don't disagree that Riker should have not been here for this. Because when he went on the... Oh, what was it called? I want to say Pa, but that's not right.
It was the Pa.
When he went on, was it the Pa?
Yeah.
Okay. So when he went on the Klingon exchange program, the first officer wasn't there, right?
Right. Yeah. So but there was that other officer that was serving under him that was kind of giving him tips. Remember when he was on the Pa? And maybe Riker's trying to fill that role here.
Sure.
later on in the turbolift, he's like, I would be happy to be your guide to dealing with the human.
Offers with some suggestions.
Yeah, a suggestion. So
right.
Coming on here, but they're all kind of they're walking on pins and needles a little bit here with Kurn.
What bothers me here, like this scene is fantastic. I love that Wesley gets yelled at. I think it's
Wesley
great.
Chatting with Data during Kern's little speech. Big no. First of all, do you have something to say, acting Wesley Crusher? And Kurn has learned all the bridge crew's names, so he's well studied.
No sir.
No sir. So he's not messing around with Kurn, nor is Data and everyone else. And yeah, even this moment here where they're going for into warp, and instead of saying engage, Kurn says execute. That's not what they would say on a Klingon ship, or at least in Klingon. They probably say it in Klingonese. Even this part here where Tony Todd sits down in the chair. And he's like, something like,
why am I sitting?
Why are we sitting on the couch while we're in command of a ship? But these humans are weird. What are you gonna do?
And unlike Academy, where the chair is so big on Holly Hunter, like he's just dwarfing it. The chair,
yeah, it's just like a little chair for him. And Riker, Riker doesn't like Kurn in his chair. Like could also be part of the vibe here. He's used Troy's chair. But
this is where Riker, he always looks threatened, and he's the first officer of the flagship ship of the Federation of Starfleet. Why is he worried?
He's got an insecurity.
I
does.
disagree. I don't think he looks threatened. I think he looks annoyed and incredulous. Like, who does this guy think he is?
Exactly, but who cares? He's just there for a week or whatever.
Don't forget when Shelby gets here, he won't like her either.
He
No.
doesn't like anybody in his chair.
No. So
Yeah, well, people don't like it when people sit in their chairs, okay? You guys are too hard on my boyfriend, Will Riker.
all right, let's get off.
I
his
am
back.
hard on him because I think he should have been promoted off the damn ship at some point.
What are you still doing here, Will? He'll ask that in a few episodes.
All right. Carry on.
Anyway,
Yeah, he's looking like he's
it's all he's doing is staring at Kurn for the whole episode. You know?
Okay, well, I do agree with you here.
Yeah.
This is a good screen cap to prove Adam's point. He does look threatened in this photo.
Absolutely.
And another thing about this episode that and this has nothing to do with anything really, but we talk about uniforms. We never talk about hair. And Riker's hair is just very big. And Worf,
Yes,
with Klingons,
it's beautiful. It's the Starfleet bouffant. Wesley has it too.
okay.
Yeah. Riker looks like, he actually looks like
atrocious in this
Frakes looks like
episode.
he didn't wash his hair today. Like if you ask me
Who?
that. Frakes. He looks
Okay.
like a little less neat than he normally
But I
does.
think Worf really shows the Federation or human influence because his hair is so short.
right. And so he's got so much conditioner in it, right? So and that's just
It
not
is
what
soft like the chairs and beds of the Federation.
right. Which is why the Klingons have a problem with him. That is our teaser for the episode. Kurn is here. Riker's threatened. Worf doesn't even really say or do anything in that scene, right? Like he doesn't interact with Kurn really.
Well, he's not even acknowledged.
He's not even
Like,
acknowledged.
Kurn doesn't really. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't talk.
So it's an interesting teaser. There's Klingon officers here, and he's threatening or annoying Riker, depending on how you want to look at it, right? So that's where we're going. After that, we get the title cards and the father, and Riker goes to see Wesley and Tin Forward with a great over the chair Riker maneuver as ever.
Yes, steps right over it.
Steps right over it, and
I love it.
Wesley's not enjoying Kurn as first officer. He's having a hard time with it. He's picking on him a lot and giving him a hard time. Not like Riker is usually very nice to Wesley. Then Geordi comes in, and Geordi's like he's really not happy with Kurn.
Okay,
He's like,
so this is like, when Jellicoe showed up, everybody's coming to complain to Riker about the style.
yeah,
Mhm.
It shouldn't matter. They are Starfleet officers, and doesn't matter who's in charge. You just move on. And this is the problem with Riker being there. It allows them an outlet because they can't go to Picard. They would never go to Picard.
Picard would throw them out.
Yeah.
so
So, but right by Riker entertaining it, it shouldn't even be a conversation. It should just be, we are doing this. Move on.
Yeah. Kurn had a surprise inspection of engineering in the middle of a maintenance cycle, which I guess is a no. So that was not well received.
But that's his style. Like, move on.
Yeah. Well, everyone's got to do double and triple shifts now. Who's paying that overtime? I guess nobody. So not Kurn. Anyway, Riker feels like maybe I can talk to him and emphasize. I think Geordi says to him, "This is not a Klingon ship, Commander." Someone needs to tell him that. So I think Riker takes it upon himself to do so. And they said that Kurn has given everyone, he's riding everyone really hard except for one guy, the one guy who should be able to take it, Worf. And that transitions us to the bridge scene here where Kurn is in the first officer's chair saying, to Worf, like, is there some stuff ahead of us? And Worf goes, yeah, there's some space junk. And he goes, is it a problem? And he goes, no. It's not a problem. Then he's like, then it's fine, isn't it? He's really patronizing to him, kind of like, can you tell me what the sensors say, big boy? Kind of attitude towards Worf here. And Worf, not impressed, does not like the disrespect.
Well, he's being pretty hard on the other crew, and him, he's just do your job, whatever you want.
Oh, you're so good at your job, Worf. Good. Wow. Gold star for you. Is that what you like? Yeah, that's the kind of thing he's giving, which is the opposite of what Worf wants. Worf would rather Kurn just yell at him and say, do it better or make it better or something like that. But that's not what Kurn's going to give him here. And then Worf, it looks like he's about to say something, yell, fight even. Kurn waits, but Worf's not going to do that in the middle of the bridge. He's more disciplined than that. So he's gonna hold his tongue.
He's got perfect hair. Like does not look Klingon.
They got conditioner in the Federation. It's okay. No.
Sonic showers.
That's that sonic shower hair. Here's an interesting perspective from chat. EJR87R says Riker is probably at this time period the best first officer in Starfleet, but some stuff he tolerates as a first officer, Kira on DS9 wouldn't.
Yeah, like who are the hard line? Like my favorite first officer, probably in all of science fiction, is Saul Tigh on Battlestar, because I think that because he's such a hard ass, and how Adama's just like, that's what this job is. The first officer is meant to be a jerk, but Riker's like the opposite of that. Riker's like everyone's best friend. And I think Chakotay was kind of like that too. Kira was more of a hardliner,
Chakotay left Starfleet, so he doesn't count.
But then he served on Voyager as the first officer.
But no.
I guess T'Pol and Spock, it's hard to really read them as first officers.
Because, but they don't have the personal relationship. They don't have the emotions, so it's fine.
Right. Yeah.
Like Riker gets himself too involved, and like that conversation with Will and Geordi and Wesley really bothered me.
It really bothered Will Riker too. He's still thinking about it clearly as he's heading to dinner with the captain, and the captain's mess, stroking his beard in a very deep thought here when Kurn runs into him in the turbolift. And this is where he's like, "Hey, Kurn, Commander, if I may, can I make a suggestion?" And Kurn's just like, "A suggestion."
You may.
You proceed, and he's like, well, maybe you can loosen up and give them a little bit more lax. And I don't know. I can't remember everything Riker says here.
He just said basically they're not used to the Klingon style here.
Yeah. He's like, when I was on the Klingon ship, I had to adapt, and maybe, I can help you with that if you want. And he's like, you're right. We're, or he dismisses the suggestion as they're walking out of the turbolift here. He says, this is not a Klingon ship. He says,
This is not a Klingon ship, sir.
No, Commander, it is not. If it were a Klingon ship, I would have killed you for offering your suggestion.
And truly, Riker should know better than this. He served on a Klingon ship. Does he think that he's going to be like, oh, Kurn, be nice to the staff, and Kurn's going to be like, yeah, let's go braid each other's hair and have a sleepover?
Exactly.
Get out of here.
Riker had to change. Like, he was eating gach. And he was like flirting with the female Klingons and ready to, he changed. He adapted.
I'm starting to wonder if the exchange program is really worth it, because it seems to lead to a lot of problems more than it leads. Like, if you remember the previous episode, the Benzite guy nearly destroyed the Enterprise by not reporting the thing because that wasn't his custom. And then that same thing, like Riker almost had to take command of the Klingon ship and destroy the Enterprise. And it was a lot, and here we got Kurn.
That's how you do cultural exchange and benefit. You almost ruin society
and everyone's lives in the process. Yeah,
almost.
Exactly. Almost. You just go to the edge and then you walk it back. So that's good. Anyway, we go to the scene here in the captain's best with the turkey that's being carved here. I love this line from Kurn.
How long has this bird been dead? It appears to have been lying in the sun for quite some time.
Well, we cook most of our food. Oh, yes, I was told. I shall try some of it.
I shall try some of your burned, replicated bird meat.
So good.
Such a great line. And then Crusher comes along with the caviar.
Oh, this is awesome. He just smears it on the...
Yeah, he's like, it is not palatable. He just like, I don't know how much.
But then Picard goes, well, I brought a few cases on board from my whatever family or whatever the hell he's doing. And then Kurn backpedals. Oh, your cat didn't mean to offend. I'll try it.
And he smears it on the turkey like a glaze. Like, that's my favorite part too. It's just a really fun scene. I think more scenes with people eating food would be fun sometimes, like just eating human food.
Well, even Undiscovered Country, that scene where they're shaking out the napkins.
Oh yeah. And the guy's eating like the blue tentacles or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and like you know, there's a lot of that you could learn from people with their dinner manners, I suppose. Anyway, but this is real caviar, which most of the time they're replicating stuff, but Picard still goes for the real stuff as well. And then, yeah, like we see Kurn just munching on the table, eating the flowers and caviar smeared turkey. And then Troy, whose only line, she's like, their only moment in this episode is at this dinner. She goes, "How are you enjoying it, Kurn?" She goes, it's good. It's hard. I almost had to kill Riker about 30 minutes ago, but I restrained myself. And everyone kind of laughs, but he's like, "It's not a joke." So
it's awesome. This is a great scene.
It's so good, and I really think Marina was laughing for real there. Like,
oh yeah, and they're
but
going
even
around.
Gates got like she looks like she's like holding back a laugh as well, you know.
Oh yeah, the whole time. Because I think they're supposed to be somewhat amused with like the difference here, like in terms of being in character, but they're also having a lot of fun. Probably just filming this.
And I also think that the replicated turkey looks a little weird. Like, would you really replicate like all the veins and the blood that are in anyway? Just
I guess I don't know.
Like that's
listen, that turkey does not look cooked. Okay,
it looks undercooked. Yeah,
it does.
Oh, ain't no butterball.
Ain't no butterball. Anyway, so that you know, he's like, he says that all the human food's bland. Well, it's okay with Worf. He was like, "Yes, I've noticed."
You set him up.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I've noticed Worf likes it, and Worf is like, "Yeah, it's good. He's eating potatoes and whatever else, and he's not worried about it being
Just like Mama Rozhenko used to make.
Yeah, exactly.
It's no roquette bud pie, but it'll do.
Exactly. You know, so a little bit of subtle disrespect here from Kurn to Worf, which Worf does not take well. So sometime later after the dinner, we see here Kurn in his quarters. Worf goes to pay him a visit and wants permission to speak freely, because Worf's not going to just chew him out right away. He's going to respect the chain of command. And you know, Kurn plays with him a bit here and says, "Well, you can't ask your questions in the confines of protocol." You know, he's like, "No." So he's like, "Okay, ask your questions." Like, "Why are you disrespecting me so much? And why are you saying all these things and bringing everything else? Have I not done my job?" He's like, "Yeah, you're doing your job, but I think you're not what I want." And he's like, "I guess you're too soft here." And then Worf's throwing chairs and saying, "You know, I'm a Klingon. If you doubt it, a demonstration can be arranged," which gets Kurn excited. He's like, "Good, that's what I want to hear." And this is where you know, you think they're going to fight, but this is where Kurn, you know, drops his bombshell. "For my brother, you are my brother." And what? Dun, dun, dun. Great time for a commercial. And we'll come back after the break. And
so this is another thing that, you know, I found, you know, looking back on this now was a little weak, is he's got a brother now, and they just move on with the episode. Like, there's no
well, now they're kind of filling in the backstory here. He's like, "Well, you know, Worf thought his whole family were dead. The Federation contacted the Klingon government at the time, and they said there were no relatives." And Kurn explains the story about how he was a baby at the time. He didn't go on the trip. They kept him with a family friend after the whole family was killed. The family friend just raised him as one of their own. So there was, like, you know, kind of separated as youngsters, not at birth, but you know, very young. And so and Worf getting all this, and then Kurn says, "And now we have to go for the challenge. We have to challenge what the High Council is doing by saying our father's a traitor." And this Worf doesn't know anything about this. He hasn't even heard anything about this yet. So, which takes us to a transition to go see Picard, and Picard is then explained that Worf Worf's father, Worf and Kurn's father, Moog, is accused of betraying their people at the attack on Kittimer, the one that Picard says the attack where he died himself, but it's also the attack where Duras's father died. So, you know, the traitor died regardless. But Worf and his descendants would have to bear the responsibility of the disgrace if the conviction stands. So Worf has to go and challenge the conviction. So Worf's just asking for leave. He's just asking for a chance to leave the ship and go do this on his own. But also saying, like, if the ruling doesn't come in my favor, I'll be executed but, you know, as the son of a traitor.
And it's so casual.
It's very casual. He's like, well, this is what I got to do. This is what I got to do. And so, and Picard, in one of his great moments here, you know, like we saw him standing up for Data in the past, you know, in episodes like Measure of a Man and also in The Offspring. And now here, you know, here he is standing up for Worf and saying, you know, Worf, like Picard really acts like a very paternal figure with his crew, you know, and I think a big part of that's because he's so much older than most of them, but
except for with actual children.
Except with actual children. He likes
And then
grown-up
he's
children.
awkward and very uncomfortable.
Right. But, you know, full-grown ones he's good with. And he's like, no, we're taking you ourselves. Like, you and your whole crew, you're not going to do this alone. So Picard, you know, says, we're going set a course for the Klingon Imperial First City. And, you know, there's a little look here between Kurn and Worf. Like, we're doing it. We're going to go challenge together. And you know, they're united in this effort. And then there's a scene while they're on their way to Kronos between Worf and Kurn and 10 Forward, where Worf basically says, you know, Kurn can't reveal his true identity. He needs to keep that secret because whatever. And because Worf is the older brother, he is like the boss of the family, even though Kurn is a commander and Worf's a lieutenant. In the military structure, in the family matters and in Klingon law, like Worf is the one to do this. So Kurn has to follow his orders. But Kurn can stand as like something called Chadich, which is like kind of like a bodyguard for the accused, because when you're under trial in Klingon society, you can't do ritual combat, I guess. So you have to, you know, be completely weaponless. So you can have like a bodyguard to handle that kind of stuff for you.
You get
anyway.
Ratchetino.
What's that?
You go get Ratchetino for them.
You get Ratchetino, whatever. It's like an assistant, really.
Yeah.
He's like the maid of honor.
He's like the maid of honor going to this execution.
What do you need? I'll get it for you.
Yeah. Exactly. So they're but the Sons of Moog are on their way. And anyway, but Worf, you know,
like I don't want to seem too hard on this. I'm not. I just there's just wish there was more. Again with this, the brothers.
It's kind of a thing where it's so good you're left wanting more, right?
Yes, and at the time it was fine. Like great, keep going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is our first visit, I think, in canon to the Klingon homeworld, right? This is
the first time they've referred to it as Kronos.
And the first time they've referred to it as Kronos.
Yeah. Because they called it Kling before many times.
Right. That's weird.
And I think we'll go here in Undiscovered Country, which chronologically takes place before this, but it won't come out for a year after this.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the Klingon homeworld is a green planet with some blue lakes and stuff. You know,
it's Earth with a green filter.
Maybe green clouds. It seems like the clouds are green as well as the land.
Yeah.
So, but it always looks very foreboding and dark and
brooding. And then we see the city, the Klingon First City, which is a combination of practical and matte paintings and
I love it.
Yeah, very cool.
Very cool. Very, very Klingon. You know, it's just like, but it looks like it's always nighttime there or always stormy there for some reason. Like, does the sun come up on the Klingon First City? We're not sure. As they beam in here, and I was saying, I think, Heather, when you were had to step away with your technical issues, that I just kind of wish that this hall was like a even bigger, sort of grander thing. Like, and they probably would do that today with modern special effects, but the time they had to build this set, and it's not bad. But it feels like if this is where the Klingon High Council meets, you know, it feels like it's like a little bit bigger than like your local Legion.
Right. I get what you're saying, but I also feel like this set reads as Klingon to me because I feel like they would be more utilitarian than decorative and ornate.
Yeah, but these are like the top guys. Like,
even they don't get to sit, Dave. Only
the Chancellor gets a chair in the council.
That's why Kurn was so surprised they get a chair on the bridge.
Yeah, he's like, you get a chair to be the first officer. Like, we don't
Right.
we don't even do this for the High Council. So Worf comes in. He says, "I'm here to challenge the lies of my father," and the proceedings are on as we head into it, and we meet this Kimpak character who acts as like a judge or sort of an arbiter in the proceedings. He asks, "Why are you here, Kurn?" And he's like, I'm Chadich. And they go, "Okay, well, let's keep going here because you just met Worf 10 seconds ago, as far as we know." And we get to meet
Duras.
Duras. I'm sorry. And Duras is like, he acts like prosecutor here, you know. He says, "Why are these humans here? You bring outsiders in." And Picard's like, "He's a really good officer. He's a really good boy. He does a good job on my ship, and I'm here to vouch for him." Basically.
But this was good because it actually showed the respect for Kimpak on what Picard had to say. He recognized it.
And Kimpak's like, yeah, like a boast here from a commanding officer does mean something. But Kimpak knows that this whole proceeding is not a real trial, right? Like, he's just hoping Worf's going to walk away before they have to go through with this, you know. So the best, but anyway, he's playing as much of a part as he can here, and so the Picard and Riker probably didn't need to be here, but he felt like standing by. And yeah, Duras coming along. Duras a very unlikable Klingon. Who plays Duras?
I got it.
Patrick Massett. I'm not super familiar with, but he's really great in this role. Anyway, he strikes Worf across the face in the middle of the meeting, you know, and Worf just has to kind of take it. He then rips Worf's baldric off, and he says, "You are a son of a traitor. You're not allowed to wear our symbols." But he doesn't make him take off the vest, which also has the symbols. But, you know, whatever. And he like throws it on the floor. So very humiliating for Worf. Worf is here to challenge the lies. Worf basically comes with no case other than to say, "This is lies." You know, it's very
what I found about this too is that I feel like Worf walked in with this greater understanding or belief that the council was more honor driven and you know very glory focused and whatnot, and he's learning that it's very political.
He's learning it's very political, you know, and like Jadzir will like kind of make this point to him later on in Deep Space Nine that he has a very idealistic version of what the Klingon Empire is and their history.
Well, even Kalar tried to point that out to him many times.
And Kalar, yeah, like that's just part of who he is. Partly because he left the society when he was such a young child, and he has this sort of it's a little bit like me in Nova Scotia sometimes. You know, I left Nova Scotia as a younging, and sometimes I have a very strong nostalgic feeling for it, even though I never really lived there, you know, I lived there when I was a baby, but
I assure you that Nova Scotia is very much like Kronos.
Very much. They like to sing songs. They like to get in fights.
And they drink.
They like to drink. So it's not that far off. Anyway, so Picard comes back to the Enterprise. He gets Data working on the investigation along with Riker. Try to figure out anything you can from the sensor logs of the time, what the Romulans would have done, what this real story here is, because Picard's like, Worf's gonna die unless we help here, because Worf came with no legal case. Worf's just hoping like vibes are gonna save him, or like his honor and his belief in the power of good. And Picard's realizing it's probably gonna take a little bit more than that in order to pull this off. Later on, Kimpak has this conversation here with Worf. This is where, you know, Kurn kind of goes his own way, and Kurn gets like this little message here, and it, you know, we don't really know who it's from. It will turn out to be a trap by Duras to lure Kurn away, so that Worf doesn't have his. It's a trap, and we get to meet Kimpak more like up close here, not just as like the judge and this chancellor, you know, where he's asking Worf like, you weren't supposed to come here. You weren't supposed to. You were like, if like we were gonna make your father the traitor, and like no one was gonna track you down in the Federation to kill you. You know, like so they kind of figure out that this was like an easy peasy, convenient way of doing this. Like let's pin the blame on Moog. Worf doesn't even live in our society, so it doesn't matter, and we can kind of all move on from this scandal. But and Kim Peck's like, I knew your father. He was my friend. We served together. I didn't want to remember him like this. But Kim Peck's also very un-Klingon in the way he's talking about this. Like he's like, this is the way it is, and not giving all the details yet, but kind of implying like, you messed up here, Worf. And
Heather,
Worf
can you put up that last comment? Because if I didn't say it, this is what I was trying to say here. Is there you go.
This episode is the first time we see that Worf actually doesn't understand Klingon society.
Exactly. He has this ideal of it, of what he thinks it is. And he's learning right now in this scene that we're just trying to solve a problem. And you've now complicated it.
And you're right. Like in the episode, we had Kalar, the emissary in season 2. She pointed out a lot of like what Worf thinks Klingons aren't really what Klingons are. But in reality, but this is more of an up close example of that than we got in that episode. And anyway, so Worf and Data and Geordi and the rest are all working on. We'd hear about the USS Intrepid being the first starship that visited Khitomer at the time. I thought it was interesting too that they were already using 5-digit registry numbers by this point. Like you see, NCC 38907 at the time.
Captain Drew, I can't see
Deegan. That's the writer of the episode or the story, the
original
story that and I believe that this is the ship that Worf's adoptive father served on. That like this is how they came to be together, right? Like how Worf Sergei Rashenko, yes.
Sergei Rashenko.
I love that guy. I have all the specs.
And he's an enlisted guy. He was like the chief, like a chief of something there, right? And so anyway, so they're trying to cross-reference all that. Then we have the scene here with
you don't have it here, but this scene right there where Riker is like sitting on the console.
He butt dialed somebody.
Riker needs a chair everywhere. He's got either gonna kick his leg over it, or he's got to sit in it, or sit on a console.
Listen, he's got a bad back. Let him sit on the console and send some photon torpedoes with his bum.
I honestly think that like this is the episode after the emissary, the one he directed prior to this. And I actually think he looks tired in this episode. I think he's actually tired from working his ass off trying to direct that episode.
You said the emissary, but I think you meant the Offspring, yeah?
Oh, and the Offspring. I meant the Offspring. Yes, sorry. Good, thank you. Because I'm sure he like whatever editing he was involved in and all that, like he would have to then run over here and be in all these scenes and everything else. So good on you, Frakes. You're a hard worker. Then we have Kurn getting ambushed here by Duras's guys, where Duras reveals to Kurn that he knows that he's really a son of Moog, and that I don't know. Like Duras tries to like turn Kurn, like try to get him on his side, but Kurn says, "I could never betray my brother. I've known him for 5 minutes. I would never do that." And he's like, "Then you can die, like your stupid dad did." And here come Duras's goons, who then very dishonorably go 2-on-1 here, and Kurn puts up a fight, but he gets stabbed right in the belly with one of those blades, and he goes down for the count. But he doesn't die. He gets.
Klingons have 2 of everything. It's fine.
I find it's interesting. They don't take him to like a Klingon hospital. Like this is the Klingon homeworld, like this. But he gets treated on board the Enterprise. And Crusher's like, what kind of a weapon could make that kind of a wound?
It's the assassin's weapon. This is hilarious. But they do have standards.
The Klingons do
assassin's weapon, right?
It's an assassin's weapon. Well, doesn't seem like why would Klingons have assassins? But they do, right? They're a diverse.
Just use a phaser. No, gotta use a knife.
Well, you gotta feel. It's kind of like the Joker in The Dark Knight. He's like, guns are too quick. Knives give you all those little sensations. But Crusher also points out that Kurn and all Klingons, like they heal very fast. They can take a lot of punishment. And like this wound likely would have killed a human, but Kurn is holding on in sickbay here, and and so. But now Worf has no.
How you holding up there, Worf? Oh, he should have died.
Yeah, maybe it'd be better that he died because Worf feels like he's going to lose the case, and they're both going to have to die. Anyway, and Worf has no Chadich now. Worf has no bodyguard temporarily. So, or maid of honor, however you want to look at it. We got Data comes up with another big reveal here in the investigation at the computer consoles because he was looking at like the sensor logs of the Intrepid along with the sensor logs of the Kittimer's outpost.
So again, yesterday's Enterprise. Why did that's just gone now?
Well, you're talking about the Battle of Narendra 3, right?
Oh, pardon me. Thank you so much.
That's not the Kittimer battle.
That's not the Kittimer battle, right? You're right. Yeah.
But it's around the same time period. It's around around the time when the Federation and the Klingons weren't necessarily friends yet. At least not super formally by the time Worf is rescued by those Starfleet officers. Anyway, they realize that the sensor logs are not in sync, that there's some kind of discrepancy. It seems like somebody sent a code to the Romulans right before the attack that got the shields dropped. But it seems like there's a cover up here. Picard says as much to Worf in his ready room. He's like, I don't know what the hell's going on here, but I can tell when people are trying to hide something, and that's what's going on with the Klingon High Council and this whole arrangement here. And he's like, I need a new Chadich, and Picard's like, okay. And he's like, I want you to be my Chadich. He's like, are you sure you don't want to pick someone younger than me, someone more spry, like Riker, or Data even? Data make a pretty good Chadich. But he wants Picard, and Picard even knows all the lines in Klingon, what to say. Picard's got a Klingon soul, man. He's hardcore. So anyway, we head back down to the chambers. Picard and Worf beam in, and they're ready to keep this going here. Worf he's not backing off. He's not listening to Kim Peck. He's not listening to Duras. He's going to face this head on. Picard says something, and he's like, you better keep your tongue, human. And this is where he's like, that Starfleet uniform will protect you here. He's like, he is Chadich now. And Picard, this is where Picard's trying to be Mr. Intimidating. I was a little bit intimidated. Duras should be for sure. So they give you like a dagger when you're Chadich, and we saw he gave it to Kurn earlier, but I don't know, I love how Picard
but he gets a cute little shiny rope to tie it around himself with. I love it.
He sure does.
Accessorizing for Picard.
Yeah, no, Picard wears it well. I like it. Picard's like, I'm down with this.
Duras just looks pissed off. Like this is not how things are supposed to go.
No, this is not how he planned this out. Then we get a medical update with Riker leading the investigation. Beverly says there was one other survivor of Kittimer, Kaylest, who was a woman who was found with Worf, but she got separated after Worf was taken to a starbase. And so there were like two survivors. And there's not much, but she's still alive and she lives on Kronos. So they're thinking like they can maybe track her down. And so that's when they call Worf, or they call Picard, during the meeting, like the council chambers. As you can see there, Picard with his fancy little rope and dagger hanging from the it looks good. I want one of those now. I can be a Chadich. Yeah. Picard getting that little update here from Riker. There's Kaylest. She lives in the old quarter. Maybe she knows something. Okay, thanks, number one. I'm gonna go check this out. And so while Worf's getting berated here by Duras, Picard asks for a recess. He kind of explains, like, do you remember this woman Kaylest? Worf explains was his wet nurse, basically. And he can, he's like, I'm gonna go check it out. He's like, you can't, it's too dangerous. I'm the Chadich motherfucker. I can get this down. I'm going to town. I think Picard could have brought a security guard or somebody with him, but he doesn't need any of that. He's
got his little knife. He's fine. He doesn't need a security guard.
He does have his little knife. And we see here that Duras and his goons that attacked Kurn earlier are now eyeing Picard as he walks out of the council chambers. We go somewhere else in the city, the old quarter, I suppose. Which looks, a little beaten down. It's the other part of the city we get to see. Not a huge set. There's a trash can fire. A lot of people wearing robes and covering their faces. So Picard has a little disguise on as he moves.
You got the mist on the ground, like the dry ice going. It's great.
It's quite the atmosphere. And so
He
Picard
looks
goes.
Vulcan, though. He looks a little Vulcan.
He looks a little Vulcan. They gave him some Vulcan robes there.
This robe is giving more Vulcan than Klingon, but I really like it. I like the quilting on the front, and Picard gets to pull it down and be a man of mystery.
Yeah, I guess it's to make him less obvious as a human walking around the Klingon city, I guess.
But he's tiny compared to Klingons.
Yeah. They're like, who's that little small guy with the,
It's a teenager.
Who's that fancy teenager? They all say that Starfleet uniforms are child uniforms because they're made I guess because they're made of cloth and not made of like metal, maybe, or something. But anyway,
I do love Kayla's dress though, with the fur trim and kind of the lavender color, which is a color we don't usually see on Klingons.
Yeah, we haven't met a ton of Klingon women up to this point, and certainly no Klingon older women. Have
we seen the Duras sisters at this point? No, we haven't.
No,
not yet. No, fashion icons, the Duras sisters.
Boob windows all around.
I know they didn't even give Kayla a boob window. They just gave her like fur trim.
She's not a warrior.
Not a warrior. She was from the nurse class.
I suppose if you only get boob windows for war.
See, that's nothing that they didn't show us again. Like we all love Klingon culture, but like the scientists, we didn't see that too many of them. We didn't see a lot of like the
the doctors,
the regular people.
Yeah, like the
we
people.
We did get to see the Klingon chef on the promenade at Deep Space Nine, though.
Yeah, well, but that hasn't. We haven't seen that. But at this point, we haven't seen any of that, right? So
no, of course
they're
not.
still setting a lot of this up, And so anyway,
so this is the first women Klingon we've seen then, other than Kayla.
And there was also the one in Day of the Dove, the one married to Kang, if you remember.
Right.
Can't remember her name right now, but she's like the other one I can recall. And there was the one in Star Trek V, the one with the great muscles that Chekhov was trying to get with. So I love her muscles.
And we did see the two Klingon women flirting with Riker on the pod.
My gosh, you're right. Okay, yeah, okay.
One or both, yes, of course.
One or both. I love it. That's so great.
But Kalis is a really interesting one because she's not a warrior. She's definitely very meek and very like quiet, and she feels like she's like, I've been dead for 20 years and I used to serve a great house and now I don't. And I don't know, she's very depressed and not very energetic. But Picard's like, was Worf's father a traitor? She goes, no, but she doesn't know who did. But Picard's like, come with me, help me save Worf and save what's left of this house and like make this wrong right, and she's like, well, I don't really know anything that would help. But Picard goes, but she knew Kim Peck, like he tried to flirt with her 20 something years ago, and he was too big boned for her, perhaps. So didn't go for it. So she kind of turns Picard down, and as Picard is leaving Kalis' place, he's attacked by the Duras' goons here. He
has his trusty little knife.
He's got a little Chadich knife, and he puts up a pretty stable fight. And you think you like hit your comm badge 1 to beam up might be a good idea, something like that. But he doesn't.
No, they're testing that assumption, and he's letting them have it as promised.
He's like throwing knives like right in the body. Like he's at it. Like no.
Oh yeah, he stabs this one guy right in the gut. Like he's like, take that. Enjoy.
Good picture.
But then this other guy gets to jump on Picard, and Picard's really up against the wall, literally, and he looks like he might be done for. But then this one guy from Duras, when he's about to strike the killing blow, he gets it in the back. Who got him in the back? And we see it's Kalis. She threw it.
She's a warrior after all.
Apparently. And so this is where she's like, okay, maybe I am still alive. Maybe I got a little fight left in me, So Picard's like, I'll just bring you, kind of like, it reminded me of like A Few Good Men, where, like Tom Cruise's character brings in those airmen from the base who don't know anything, but Jack Nicholson's character doesn't know that. So he just gonna put them in the trial just to make them sweat, like what they might say, what they might know, and what might get them talking. So that's kind of what Picard's plan is here. as Worf is kind of almost near the end of this. Like we can see like Duras is kind of closing up the case. It's all looking pretty here. All these like other people in the council chamber are they're itching for the execution here. They can't wait for it. But just then Picard says, I have new evidence. Wait right here. I got a great courtroom drama and I need to present it. Picard is covered in like this dust or whatever. I don't know if it came from his robe or whatever it came from, but he's really covered it in here.
Look at it's a dandruff.
And this is very much a courtroom drama, like, you know, and then Kim Beck's like, in my chambers, let's go. So
wait, we can't have this, is what he's saying, really.
We can't have this. We're not going to have this here.
This is getting out of control. We cannot have this conversation in front of everybody.
Right. Mm-hmm. So what do you know, old woman?
Can you go back one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's Kaelist in her overcoat.
Yes.
I was noticing like the red fur trim get up she has on here, but then it cuts to her in the next one. That just must be like an outer coat. And I'm loving the fur trim Klingon costumes.
I'm still loving that dagger that Picard's rocking.
Myself.
It's pretty low.
It's pretty, you know, yeah, it's right at the hand level.
It's so he can reach it with his hand.
He can reach it and he can throw it into your throat when you're not looking, you know.
Yeah.
Has he got it wrapped around his leg too? Like, I hope this.
No. It flails.
Oh, bad. That was missing.
Well, he's working. He hasn't accessorized yet. Come on, he's only had it a little while. Anyway, so it's when Duras he threatens to kill Kaelist that Kimpek's like, "Are you gross? Like you're gonna kill Kaelist? Like
woman."
You know." And this is where Kimpek kind of reveals that that it's Duras's dishonor that they're protecting. That it was Duras's father who betrayed them to the Romulans, like, you know, and all this, and that they're hiding this. And so Kaelist is allowed to leave. And then this is where Kimpek's like, hey, it's good to see you again. Uh-huh. Yeah, you're still too fat, Kimpek. He's like, oh, well, okay. I'm the Klingon Chancellor, though. Is that
Is that like not good enough for you, bro?
Is that not fun? But I guess
what's
not.
Cool about this scene is that, again, it shows a side of Klingons that we don't typically see. Like, it's just they love people, or they're attracted to people, and into their elderly years. And I just think this is a great scene.
All right, it's fun. Yeah, a real like interesting dynamic here. She leaves. And then it comes about like what it's going to come here. Worf wants justice. What's that Worf line?
This Habidar should have been fed to the dogs.
Yeah. Apparently, I love that line too. But get along here, but Kimpek explains we're not going to tear down the entire Klingon Empire to protect the honor of one family.
Yeah, but, like what is so big about this?
You know, it'd be kind of like, I guess. I don't know, like if
we don't know. That's my point.
If the Kennedys were implicated in like the assassination of JFK, or I don't know, it would be kind of like it would be like such a division.
I know there's a story here, and I just wish we knew it.
Yeah, this would make an interesting prequel if they were going to.
It really would. This would be a show.
Yeah. And talking about all these characters, have young Moog, have young Kimpek, and all these people in the mix, right? Like that could be interesting.
Yeah, let them hate the Federation still, and like all that.
Yeah, exactly. But Kimpek is saying, no, we have to protect the Empire. We can't do this. And Picard's like, you have to exonerate Worf. You have to do it all. But Kimpek's like, you're not listening. I can't do. Even if I want to do what you want to do, but I can't do that. Like, that's not like, I'm not going to tear down the entire empire for this. And so Picard said, Picard starts issuing threats, saying that the alliance with the Federation could crumble under this, and it's not built on lies. So some things coming out here. And Worf then says, I'll let them execute me. It's okay. I'll go down. And
so this another scene that I just didn't understand is how quickly he gave up.
Well, Worf wants to protect the Klingon Empire. Like
but it just seemed okay.
I think Kimpek's argument is persuasive to him. I think on some list, and what is it? And he kind of snaps here at Picard, right?
Oh, great! It's great line.
he's like, "You're not going to talk right now. The Chadich will be silent," as they say. Do I have that on the board? I think I pulled it a long time ago. No.
Chancellor Gowron.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
Oh, he's not here yet.
He's not here yet. Wait.
Kim Peck still has to get poisoned. Spoiler for the future.
Oh, here it is.
The Chadich will be silent.
Yeah. So, you're gonna shut your, just how he told Kurn earlier. You know, maybe you're my superior officer right now, but right now I'm the boss. This is about my life, my family. And Worf says, "Okay, you don't have to kill me." Discommendation. I don't know why I kept struggling with that one, but anyway, and then Kim Peck's like, "Yes, that's the one where you get to be disgraced, but you don't have to die, and then everyone gets what they want," sort of. You know, and you know, and this is like Worf's willing to take one for the state. Worf is willing to preserve peace and, you know, everything else here, and because he's more of a Klingon than Duras is, you know. And this is where Worf's like, yeah, he strikes him across the face, and he kind of gets even for that slap earlier. You're the one whose father is a traitor, and I get to say that to you in here. But this conversation can't leave this room. Only these 4 people can know. I don't know how much they tell Riker and the rest of them when they get back. Maybe nothing, but you know that this is what's going on here. And then the final scene is, you know, the discommendation, but it's also this conversation here with Picard and Kurn, where he's like, Worf wants you to keep your identity secret. You're not accepting the discommendation. The family needs to fight another day. It needs to live to fight another day. There will be another day, and don't let your family or your children forget what Worf does here today for you, for your people. And you know, Kurn just kind of nods and accepts this, right? So this is the first time they'll do the discommendation ceremony, although we'll see it many other times in other versions of this ceremony.
I like this scene.
Yeah, where they just cross their arms and they turn their back to them, and they're basically an outcast in Klingon society moving forward. And they kind of move around this whole circle. It's hard to get it in the.
It's impactful though. Like, you really get the feeling that they're turning their backs on him, and
they're turning their backs on him, and he's even more alone than he was before as a Klingon, right? You know, he was already isolated from his own society and kind of always a curiosity and a bit of an outcast, but now he's really truly a pariah, and
he's gained and lost a brother in
a
week, you know, or however long this takes place over. And speaking of his brother, where Worf says here, "You must do it too," Tony Todd comes, he doesn't just do it, he does it and like snaps his hands shut and turns around, like, so good.
He does it with such pain and in his face and everything else, and he's just like, and he hates this, but he's doing it because for duty, right? Like he's following, you know, he wants to go out in a blaze.
The thing they didn't get into is like, how long did Kurn know that he had a brother and couldn't approach him, and he's been following his career probably, and like, it's just, there's a big story behind here that yeah, I keep saying it, that I'd love to know more about.
For sure. Yeah, so he does it, and then Worf and Picard basically look at each other and walk out of the room, and that's the end of the episode. And it's sad, but it's, you know, Worf didn't die, so there's that. He lives to fight another day. So great episode, lots to admire about it. Is there anything I don't know about it yet, Adam?
No, probably. You probably know. Wait, sorry, my camera a little loose.
I call this section Sexy Fun Facts with Adam.
Sexy Fun Facts with Adam. Woo!
Love it.
Thank you. All right, let's get going. In an interview, Michael Dorn revealed that the events of this episode altered his perception of Worf and influenced how he played the part from then on. He said there was a lot more involved in that than the writers realized. Things that have to do with Klingon loyalty and honor, they didn't give it its due prior to this. You look at Worf in a different light, and I played him in a different light since that episode. This is not something that they have come up with. I was doing it on my own. It's their fault. They wrote it, so now I'm going to carry on with it.
So I wonder what he meant by that. Like he never played it the same after that, you know?
Well, I think that, there wasn't many Worf episodes prior to this either.
No, there were not. Well, they weren't even doing like the focus on one person or one character like that much yet, right? Like it's only been going on in this third season, and this is really like the only Worf heavy episode that we get up until this point. There were episodes like in the first season when those Klingons showed up, you know, and Worf had a lot more to do in that episode. But it's kind of the closest thing we got to a Worf episode, I guess, before this.
Emissary.
The Emissary is also his episode, but
they toyed with him and then they backed away, and then this gave him a storyline. Like it really did.
Ooh.
It gave him a storyline. I guess that's definitely the part that's important to.
When you think about how there was some really key story arcs in Next Gen that they kept. It took them time to get through them because it wasn't an every week episode.
Well, what I love about this episode too is that like it just feels like, you know, the Klingons are these aliens, but they feel very familiar, you know, to humans because they're a lot of their societies kind of similar to samurai culture or old feudal Europe, and this idea of lords and honor, and they're kind of like these knights, but they're also aliens too, right? So there's kind of so I think there's a lot that's really interesting, almost Shakespearean at times about all of this, you know, that makes it really kind of fun.
Okay,
Adam, I don't want to derail you.
No, that was a good conversation. This is the first Klingon episode written by Ronald D. Moore. He would go on to be Star Trek's resident Klingon expert, penning most of the Klingon-related scripts for Next Generation and a lot for Deep Space Nine before he moved on to Battlestar.
Yeah, and like I don't know if this will come up in your facts, but in case it doesn't, like, you know, apparently Michael Dorn said off camera like that line about this guy should be fed to the dogs or whatever, right? And he was like, oh, that's such a terrible line. And like Ronald D. Moore was close enough to hear him say that. He's like, oh, I thought it was a pretty good line, but you know, Michael Dorn was like, I even got to make this sound good somehow.
Michael Dorn named Sins the Father and the Drumhead as his two favorite episodes of Next Gen.
Nice.
This one's good, but you're right. It's like the first part of a bigger story that we don't get like part two until like Gowron shows up.
No, and that's why I think listen, I think, and I'll say this in my ratings, but I'll say it now too, is as a standalone, it had gaps or questions, but as a catalyst, it was a massive episode that, you know, that you got to rate as that.
Well, he's EJR says, I love this episode, and of course there could have been more story, but I always prefer wanting more. In modern storytelling for everything has a tendency to over-explain stuff sometimes. Yeah, that's
you know, and I think we were talking about that's a great point, because we were talking about that in one episode we were doing a while back, is that we just accepted it. It was fine.
Yeah, yesterday's Enterprise didn't have to explain every little thing about mechanics to us, right? Like we could follow it. It's fine.
I would rather have things left out than exposition ad nauseum, you know?
Yeah, and that's what made Next Generation so great, you know, because we didn't have to have it, you know, and they only had 45 minutes or 42 minutes per show to do it.
Mm-hmm. And I even think that they kind of did some meta references to the fact that the show has been like that. If you think about I believe it's in Insurrection, it may be Nemesis, when Picard is like, Mr. Worf, what are you doing here? And Worf starts to explain, and then a klaxon goes off, and they're like, and they just go on with it, you know, like we don't need to explain it. Let's just go with the story.
Yep. Okay. Where was I? The Great Hall was built off the quite large Tanaga 4 research station, set from a matter of perspective.
Oh,
so another courtroom drama, but this one just Klingon style.
While some courses claim that Klingon dialogue is gibberish, it is a fact that Mark Orkand, Klingon Dictionary, that all Klingon's dialogue is throughout all Star Trek incarnations. So they use the same language. Dave, we met the woman who actually is the linguist on the cruise last year for the Klingon language.
Yeah, and they
And
make
he-
those actors really learn
cool.
it, and they got to study it. and
but
get
she's
it down.
created a language that is
Yeah.
that she has to basically read and write or for every episode to make sure it's the continuity's there. Excuse me.
What's
Oh,
her
yeah.
name?
I'll have to look it up for you.
Mm.
Davey pointed out the captain of the USS Intrepid is named Drew Deegan on the monitor screen after the writer who submitted the scripts back for this episode.
Yeah, like it's kind of crazy that they've never gone back to that because they made so many great stories in this first season or first couple seasons. You know, like with submitted scripts, and then I'm sure the union doesn't like it, but
The Klingon's woman's name is Kalis, maybe a feminine version of Kalas, the name of the revered Klingon founding father.
I think that makes sense. Like, Christine for
for Chris.
Christ and stuff,
Yeah, that makes sense. You have feminine versions of the male names.
Mm-hmm.
Dave and Heather, just to give Tony Todd credit because he was such a great part of this series. And
what's that?
I want my fucking money!
He wants his money.
Yes.
His money.
And he passed away in 2024 last year, or 2 years ago now.
2 years ago now. I'm really sad about it still, honestly. Like Tony Todd. I was just playing a game like Star Trek Online today, and there's a mission where it's Tony Todd's voice, and he's being Kurn, and he's just so much fun as this role. He had so many great performances, but like there were times him playing Kurn was just like such a, I don't know, like it's just magic for me,
I agree. And not only that, but he played adult Jake Sisko in The Visitor, which is one of the best episodes of Deep Space Nine. So moving, so touching. He gives an absolutely stellar performance.
That's right. I often forget that's him, because he's playing such a different kind of character that he
But he uses the line that's very Klingon, the pain will be exquisite, but he says
that's in the Candyman, which we've said once, and we will say no more, please.
That's true.
Be my victim.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so he was born in 1954, lived to 2024, so he died at 69. He had a few defining traits, a commanding 6'5" presence.
6'5".
6'5".
Was he really? I didn't realize that. Wow.
So he probably wasn't standing on platforms in this episode.
No, he's just that tall.
And Frakes was really that jealous that there was someone taller than him on set.
Well, like I've been next to Frakes. Frakes is tall. He's taller than me, and I'm 6'1". So I mean,
yeah. Well, Tony Todd's even taller than all of us. So
yeah.
Or was.
The voice, of course, the deep resonant voice has become a signature, instantly recognizable, often imitated, never duplicated.
No, he's so iconic. He was just such a different kind of a voice. Like some people's voice, and he did these other roles, like voice roles and things, and like in Gargoyles and all kinds of stuff that I loved, like the Flash TV show a couple years ago.
Yep. As in Star Trek, he played Kurn, of course, and he played it in a way that understood Klingon culture, rigid honor. He had great chemistry with Michael Dorn, and even in episodes like this one where they had the political plotting, he was different. He's different than the rest of the group.
It really is. If you contrast him and Duras in this episode, Duras is all yelling and bluster, and Kurn lowers his voice and is so menacing the way that he speaks and delivers lines and like draws out his S's. I
think you're right. Because Kurn and Worf, like they both play like this kind of reserved, angry, like don't mess with me, like I don't need to like show you my teeth as much. Whereas Duras feels very like a guy who just like yapping at you all the time, But when push comes to shove, he's not much of a fighter, not much of a tough guy.
Yeah. You might not know this, but
sorry there. EJR says hard to believe Tony Todd did this episode before the movie that shall not be named more than once. I didn't realize this episode came out before that movie. Wow.
They didn't. It was 1990. They didn't know yet.
I saw Candyman in the theater, and it was sorry.
Don't say it. It's like Beetlejuice.
That's true.
Don't. Okay.
I like the second movie. That won't be named more than the first one, but
I did not see the second one because I saw the first one when I was far too young, and it left a very lasting impression on me. And that impression is I'm very afraid of it, and I still won't look in the mirror when I go to the bathroom if it's dark.
it's legit scary. It's legit scary. For sure.
It's so scary. Were people terrified when you saw it in the theater, Adam?
Yeah, there was jump scares and everything going on. You know who else was in that? Virginia Madsen.
Yes, at the peak of her beauty and power. What a gorgeous
Michael
woman
Madsen's
and great
sister,
actor.
and she was on Star Trek. She's in that episode with Chakotay.
That's right.
Yeah, also was in Designated Survivor with Kiefer. She played a congresswoman. Okay, one more thing on Tony Todd. He actually had theater roots and was classically trained. I don't know if you guys.
That makes complete sense. He feels like a very
Mm-hmm.
was Michael Dorn classically trained? Because I feel like if he they all have that certain energy to them. The people who do it, like who do these Star Trek shows, like I guess it's just being on stage and like having to present a different way, versus like somebody.
Guess who didn't? Jonathan Frakes. Huh, that's right.
He'd never been on stage. He'd only done like
I don't know. I'd have to look, but. And then finally, he was known for being a generous collaborator, great presence in genre storytelling. And then finally, he felt his co-actors felt that he elevated everybody's performance when he was on stage with them.
Well, I think that's also true.
I can see that. Well, R.I.P. Tony Todd. You gave us a lot. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you to Tony Todd. Absolutely. One of my great things. Where is...
Excuse me, but what about the fucking money?
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get to the scores, everyone, and get to our ratings for this episode and put a score down. Change out the ticker. This has an 8.2 on IMDb. Is lower rated than like The Offspring and other episodes like Deja Q. I don't fully understand why. If you don't mind, I'll submit my score. Like, is this a perfect episode? It's close. It's I think I'm left wanting a little more. So I'm like 9.7 on this. It's really strong.
Heather, can you go next? I'm still sorting this out.
I am going to give it a 9.5. And the only deduction is because I agree that it would have been nice to have some of the backstory filled in terms of why the Duras family being named and shamed would throw the Empire into civil war. But it would have been nice to get another episode about it, but I don't feel that it takes away a great deal from this episode. So a 9.5 for me, 9.5.
Yeah. I don't struggle with that whole part of like the Duras family being so powerful, because I think that can be true in real life, where people are protected from scandals and these kinds of things too. And
yes, that is definitely true.
And I guess like if the House of Duras fell, all the people that would lose because of that, right? Like all the people who are wealthy because of the Duras family and these kinds of things, not because they want to protect him per se. All right, Adam, do you feel like you're ready to give a score?
Yeah, I would have loved this to be a two-parter. I'm going to give it a 9.
Okay. So the three of us are averaging 9.4 tonight. As I mentioned, 8.2 on IMDb. So not like but like you can see how much we've had a string of wins here. I'd say
this is like the peak of season 3. Like right now we're in it.
Yeah, it's not since The Price we had a down moment, really, right?
That was a terrible episode.
I thought it was okay. But it's all right. And so that's our score here for Sins of the Father. Really enjoyed it. All right, thanks to everyone there. And a 9.4 from EJR. Okay, I'm with you. All right, so let's look ahead to the next episode. It is called Allegiance, and in this one, Captain Picard is abducted and replaced by a doppelganger whose increasingly erratic behavior puts the crew on edge. Meanwhile, the real Picard is trapped with 3 strangers in a mysterious chamber where cooperation may be the only way out. And looks like we have Adam, Heather, Jody set to be on this next one.
I am not available next week. I thought I was on next week for Captain's Holiday.
You might be. You are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I will not be here next week. DWS says, great review, guys. Give us your rating. That goes for everybody in chat. Thanks so much for joining us. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments.
Absolutely. Please. Thank you. Thank you. Also, if you didn't know, we just finished all of For All Mankind. We went through all those seasons, and we've been doing that on every Monday. That's why we moved TNG to Monday partially. But go check out all our reviews of For All Mankind if you have not, or go watch the show and check it out. Check out our Star Trek Radio Theater series. Most recently, we did Galaxy Quest, live script read. We've done interviews here, most recently with Rick from Certifiably In-Game. Really interesting. He does some amazing videos around Star Trek lore. And if you didn't know, there's a new season of Starfleet Academy. Not even just new season, like it just started. The whole show is going now. We covered the first 2 episodes last Thursday in like a long 2-hour podcast talking about both episodes.
3 hours.
It was so long. But I mostly blame Chris because he was the most excited, I think. He's like, this happened, and then this happened.
No. He was talking about production and lighting and all this. It was.
Oh yeah, like the stuff he cares about. He's like, what the story? Who cares? Like, but did they have good cinematography? Then he's all about it.
Is that what you guys feel like when I talk about like the flowers and the set and stuff?
It's fine. Everybody has a perspective.
Everyone looks
great.
At beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? So whatever it is for them, but it did contribute to the 3-hour podcast in Chris's case.
Now I will just say that I watched the first episode and loved it. So I look forward to being on a future pod for Starfleet Academy.
Yeah, you are on deck. I don't know if you're available this Thursday, but if
so, Dave, this Thursday when we talk about it, I'd like to start off with some reviews that I've been reading this week, though.
Okay, we'll start. We'll get into that for the next one. This episode on Thursday is called Vitus Reflux. Here at the Academy, looks like a gym scene, so look out for that. And I think that's all the plugs. We'll be back on Super Mater Brothers podcast at the end of February for Survivor and
episode or season 20. We're in that
50,
like 55.
Season 50. It's a big one. This is like the Super Bowl we're going into here, Adam. It's exciting. Watch out.
Good God.
Yes, I know. All right. And we'll leave you here with a quote for tonight. We'll hope you'll join us next time on Live Long and Podcast. And take care, everyone.
Worf wants you to live. The name of your father must someday be cleared. He needs you alive with your honor intact. But to do this, there will be another day, Commander.
There will be another day.
Do not forget what he does here today. Do not let your children forget.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And take a peek into the darkness with Heard Noise, Must Investigate with Michael Chan. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.